This is my YouTube channel, and in this video I'm going to be talking about me, what I'm going to be talking about, and my story. My real name is Jacob Pagano. I'm like 5'9". I'm living with my grandparents, and I'm trying to finally do it. I'm trying to make a YouTube channel, trying to grow and trying to be successful. I'm terrified right now. My heart's beating. I feel like I'm gross and messy. I don't feel like I'm very presentable. But I'm still doing this anyways because also this is me. I love Naruto. I love big hoodies. And so yeah. I'm going to just start out with my story. And you're going to learn about me along the way. Before this, I'm just going to also start by starting with my sob story. Anything before this, I liked normal things. I loved Big Hero 6, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I love Superman. I grew up watching Marvel. I love cartoons and stuff like that. I used to mostly live with my grandparents so that way I could stay with my friends in school, in elementary. But then, over the summers, my dad wanted to see me through the summer. And so I would go to his place for the summer. I had my two little siblings. I have a stepmom. I went there, I think, like 3 times. But that third time is where it all started. So at this point, I'm still just, your normal little kid who liked early 2006 stuff. Toys, cartoons, and other things. But one year, I didn't want to go. So then my dad made me. I didn't have a choice. So then I stayed with him. Apparently, I was going to stay with him forever. Because he then started to put me into a school. I was in 6th grade. I was going to 6th grade. My dad was in the army also too. My stepmom was. But then, when I met her, I didn't know what she was doing for a job. But yeah. Never really asked or cared. Then they abused me. They both did. For little small things that wouldn't really matter. But because I stayed there, the court issued that I had to call my mom a couple times a week, twice a week. So I told my mom. Then she got CPS involved. And then just one night I'm sleeping in my dad's house, scared. Then it turns out I'm gonna go and be with my teacher, Miss Balding. CPS was there at the school at the end of the day, told me not to get on the bus. Now, I rode my bus with my stepbrother. I still worried for him that he was going to be scared for me. If my dad even knew if I wasn't coming home. You know? Because, yeah, I was scared of him, but I was like, what is going on at home right now? And then they're kind of struggling to find me a place. But then my homeroom teacher, Miss Balding, who asked to see if she could be my first caregiver. And we're like, let's look at it. And so yeah, we made it to the point where she was my first caregiver. After that, I bounced from family to family. Some were on good terms, some were on bad terms. But then I got introduced into Naruto. I was with my second last family. I'm gonna call them C and K. K was was the dad basically, and C was the mom. They were boyfriend and girlfriend. C was a tour manager. She took people on tours basically about World War II for Japan, and a more mature one that I never really knew about. K worked at a gaming shop. They would paint minifigures for warheads and even hosted games. It was like in this like mall kind of thing. I hung out there a lot with him and it was really fun. I went to a school, aced it, but then he introduced me to Naruto. Okay. I didn't even know what it was, but I enjoyed it. but I never really was fully into it. And then I got moved into a group home where my first ever or like had brothers, basically. They're not my real brothers, but they were there with me while they were there, so they are my brothers. We don't talk anymore. We haven't talked in like I think almost 2 years now, but still, they're still my brothers. But then, while I was there, I got a call from mom. It was also still mandatory that I called mom. This was really bad news for me. It involved a family member. It was my Uncle Jesse. I learned that he passed away. It was really hard for me. I screamed and cried in the car that I was in. But the driver, all CPS kids had a driver to go take them shopping because the court would give the kids money to go shopping, but only at Ross. So you only had very bad options. But also, the reason why it also hurt more is because the last time I saw him was when I was still with my dad, and I learned that my dog, Shelby, passed away. Shelby was the family dog that we had since she was a puppy, but she would sleep with me back when I still lived with my grandparents when I was younger. The last picture I saw was of him and her basically just saying, "Hi Jacob, I miss you," on Facebook. He kind of was like a father figure to me, I guess, of how I remember it. And then, yeah. Then, found out I was going home. My mom was like, "Hey, can I adopt my son?" But the court was like, "No." But then it transitioned to my grandparents. My grandparents wanted to adopt me. The court said yes. So then we finally got me home. I saw my grandfather in years, and it felt like I haven't seen him in a lifetime. It was so amazing. I remember telling all the steps of the way on my story on Instagram, like I was famous. But the only friends that overwatched me were from my old school that I was at. I was at Holy Family Catholic Academy when I was in 8th grade. I hated it there. And then, yeah. Then I got home. Then I see my friends again, too. I see Kira. I see Skylar. I see Grant. I see a lot of my friends there. And it's amazing. And then, of course, at this time, I'm still an Avenger fan, but I don't even know what anime is yet. I'm kind of still into cartoons, but I'm on my own, basically, still figuring out what everything is. Because also, too, I don't know, I didn't really keep up what was new at all. I never had the childhood that most boys in my year did. But I don't care. But then they introduced me to anime. My friends Kira and Sam, Sam is also now my girlfriend or 4 years, sorry. But that story isn't a bit. But they introduced me to the show called My Hero Academia. By the way, Naruto was my first ever, but My Hero Academia is neck and neck right there. And I'll explain why in a bit. They introduced me to My Hero Academia. I find it on Hulu and I watch it. I watch it till season 4. I learned what some other anime was because Hulu was where I was originally going to be watching anime. And then I find like Blue Exorcist, One Punch Man, and other things like that. And then afterwards, I remember Naruto. I find it on Netflix. I find the last episode I was on, and I continue it. And then I find other ones like Black Clover, One Piece, and all these others. I find out who the big three are. I found out that it's Bleach, Naruto, and One Piece. Also, apparently, Dragon Ball is sometimes a part of it. And I'm like, oh my god, Naruto, yeah. I finished Naruto. a couple years, and then I moved on to One Piece. I watch One Piece here and there, and I'm still don't watch it a lot, but I'm trying to watch a lot more of it. Right now, I'm in Skypiea. I haven't even met God yet, though. I'm only at like the first gods, the guy with all the bubble things. But then, yeah, I learn more about anime, and I learn what it is. But during my freshman year, um, I stayed in my homeroom class because I was in special ed. I could stay in my homeroom if I wanted, and I did because I was scared of going out. Then my teacher recommended me here. Just go to the gym. You know, that's one of the classes, and I loved it. I did. It was felt like therapy to me that I've needed for my dad. I did have a therapist after I left my dad. The court did say, "Hey, have a therapist for a bit." After I finally came home, and he did help me. He was a good therapist, but I didn't need him for that long because I knew where I was. I didn't really care. Screw it. But the gym just somehow made it so much better. All that anger I felt for him could be fuel for gym, and it was amazing for 4 years. For that, I alone reached 315 pounds for my PR for deadlift and squatting sitting. It's like where you squat down, lift your legs up, and then squat back up. 315 for that too, but it only happened once. But deadlift, I could normally do it. But that was also the last time I ever worked out, which was kind of bad. I get through my years, you know. Girlfriend, Sam. We've been together for about 5 years now. But there's a story behind that. I first fell in love with her when we were at our rivals game. It was a football game between our school's biggest rival, and it was like 125th year or something like that. But a huge storm happened. Me and Sam are only best friends right now, though, at this point. But she hates thunder. I called my grandpa to come and pick us up, and then, I lifted up my arm because she was scared, and she ran right into me, you know? And that's what I did. I didn't felt it until later, but then, yeah. But then she was also kind of getting lonely. I didn't tell her that I loved her, though. Not yet. But then she was getting lonely. I kind of did bring it up. She asked her long-distance girlfriend, Bella, and Bella said yes. Bella was her girlfriend. They were doing long distance. Bella was in Arizona. But we still didn't do anything other than say, like, I love you now, and just cuddle, I guess. Like, just sit next to each other closer more, I guess. It wasn't until about, I think, 3 months into our relationship where she got a text from Bella saying that you cheated, I now have a boyfriend, fuck you, bye. First of all, Bella was only lesbian. I wasn't even at home. I was in Detroit trying Mom's spaghetti for the first time. And by the way, would love to go back there again. I'm not even there, but luckily another friend of hers was there to help her calm down, but Jesus fucking Christ. Fuck you, Bella. Also, I am gonna cuss. I'm sorry, but it's just gonna happen. Then I go to MCTI. And I trying to be a custodian. That's what I did at the trade school as a custodian. I did only one term there out of 2 terms because I was tired of being in a classroom and I wanted to get on to the field, I guess. Got a job. Got an apartment with only a 1-year lease underneath, also with my help with my grandma. Got fired on my favorite holiday, Halloween, and so then after the year lease was up, I moved back to my grandparents. My girl is now 3 hours away from me, now here I am, jobless, living back with my grandparents. Me and Sam still call every day, but this bracelet is one of those long distance tap bracelets. The blue one, I will tap it twice saying I love you, or I miss you, but then you tap and hold it again. It's going to sound a pink one, and that is going to say I love you. You can customize it in the app. I know it's going to be hard to follow me because I do have ADHD and I do try my best. If you got lost, I'm sorry. I was only a sophomore. I was a sophomore when me and Sam started to date, so that also helped you with the story from earlier. I'm sorry, and if I repeated some stuff, I'm sorry. But now, what I'm going to be talking about on the channel, basically anime nerd news, Spider-Man Brand New Day news, My Hero Academia, and stuff like that. Also, some stuff I want to show you, like my Funko Pops. Here are all my Funkos right now, basically. Oh wait, see? It's turning blue. But we have, Fluffy. I'm a big fan of him. Fluffy, when he came here at the concert a couple of years ago, I have Madara, Naruto, his dad, Rock Lee, and then Rengoku. Mike Guy. Down here, we have all my Hero Academia Funkos. We have Shoto, Deku, All Might, Skinny All Might, and then Kirishima in his unbreakable form. Which, by the way, Kirishima is my favorite character, other than Deku. And his favorite pose, my favorite part of him, was during that scene and during the Rappa fight. Then down here, we have the Flash, Yuji doing the Black Flash, and then 2 Uchiha members. I do have more, but those are just some of my favorite ones that I have. I'm also trying to work out again. I'm now working at a Planet Fitness. This right here is my favorite fidget toy. It's just a bunch of magnetic beads. It's so cool. I can create so many things with this. Yeah. For earrings, I have these 3. These are supposed to be representing Zoro. And this is just my normal one. I have this. I also have the Galaxy Watch 4. Right now it's charging. And I also have the Heaven Curse Mark as a tattoo in the same place as Sasuke to simplify of what I went through with my dad and to now overcoming it afterwards. I'm going to show you guys a tattoo. Also, too, this necklace is a Spider-Man necklace. That's the tattoo. And so now for the Watch 4, I love the thing. It basically feels like a phone at this point. It tracks everything. I could do almost anything I want on there. I even have Google. It does not work because everything loads forever. But hey, it's still kind of cool. I kind of have a search engine on a watch. I can customize the icons to any way I want, even images that I saved from stuff like Pinterest or Artist. And yeah, if you guys have any questions, please leave a comment below so I can start making more videos. That's me. I love you, bye.